So in this section, we want to talk about how do we write or create expressions or equations, oops, or equations. Now, if you forgot what they are, expressions don't have any equal signs in them, equations do, from just unknowns or from word problems. Because typically you will be given a word problem and you need to put it down in terms of numbers and expressions and equations in order to solve that. So this becomes extremely important to understand. Now, let's go through some things. For instance, let's say I say to you twice the sum of 4 and a number. And we want to write an expression from that. Twice the sum, so twice, 2 times the sum of, so 2 times the sum of 4 and a number. So first things we do, we start from inside and work our way out. So we're talking the sum. So if you want to break it down, we're talking the sum of 4 and a number. So 4 sum with a number. Now, what could that number be? Let's call it whatever we want. If you're not given, you just assume a variable. Let's say n. So this right now, 4 plus n is the sum of 4 and a number. And we want to double it. It says twice the sum of that. So where do we put this 2 then? Do we just write 2 times? Or do we say 2 times 4 plus n? Which one is correct? If you guessed the second one, you are correct. Because if you say, the first one is basically, if you look at the orders of operation, you have written 2 times 4 plus n, which is essentially 8 plus n. You've changed the question altogether, right? However, the sum of 4 and a number, you are doubling that whole, the entire sum you're trying to double. So what is the entire sum of 4 and a number? This parentheses is basically the sum of 4 and a number where we are trying to double it. So the first one, the second one would be the correct answer. Or let's say they say, for instance, 3 more than a number is 18. So first of all, whenever you see is in a word problem, is equals. So right away, you know you're dealing with an equation. So 3 more than a number. Well, what is that number? Let's say x in this case. So 3 more than that number is, oh God, 18. So there you go. We just created an equation, and then we can go ahead and solve this later on. So this is an example of writing expressions and equations, based on word problems. Let's do another example. Let's say you are given a rectangle, and someone says, write the perimeter or calculate the perimeter. Well, perimeter of a rectangle, we just go around it. It's A plus B plus another A plus another B, because these are equal. And that will be 2A plus 2B, which is the perimeter. So perimeter of a rectangle is 2A plus 2B. Now, how do we apply this in real life? Or let's do a little bit more advanced word problems. So let's say they say a library has 8 more magazines than newspapers. It's a weird library, but whatever, right? So let's say a library has 8 more magazines than a newspaper, and they want you to write some kind of a, expression, and they want you to write an expression, but be representing, let's say, the number of magazines. So we want to write an expression representing the magazines, the number of magazines. So what does that mean? So we want to, so in this question here, we have magazines, which is, let's say, M, and we have newspapers, which is N. Oops. So if we want to represent the magazines, then so in this question, we are relating magazines to newspapers. These are related. How are they related? Whenever we have 8 more magazines than newspapers, meaning that if we take the number of newspapers and we add 8 to it, this represents the number of magazines. So let's say if they say, hey, length of a rectangle is 3 times the width. So length of a rectangle is 3 times the width. That's what they're giving us. And they want you to represent, let's say, the length. How do we represent the length here? Well, the length is related to the width. So if we want to represent the length, we have to find something with the width. And it says the length of the rectangle is 3 times the width. So how do we represent the length? It's basically 3W. So 3 times the width will be the length. So you may see the table that looks kind of like this, that they say, let's say you want to represent the length, and they say, define a variable, or the other way around. So in this case, we will define a variable as W. Because we're doing length, because they say represent length, your variable should be the other thing that's being related to it, let's say width in this question, and that's how it's represented. 2 more questions to understand this much better. I hope you did.